Florence Nightingale, the Lady with the Lamp. Hello, my friends. Today I want to tell you the beautiful and inspiring story of a woman who changed the world. She did not fight wars with weapons. She did not lead armies, but she became one of the most loved and respected women in history because of her kindness, her courage, and her never-ending desire to help others. Her name is Florence Nightingale. Many people call her the Lady with the Lamp. This is not just a story about a nurse. This is a story about a woman who showed the world that compassion and care can heal not only the body, but also the heart and the soul. It is the story of how one person, with love and determination, can make the world a better place. So sit with me. Listen calmly. Let me take you on this journey. I will tell you about Florence's childhood, her education, her struggles, her victories, and how she became a symbol of hope for millions of people. Chapter 1. A Special Child is Born. Florence Nightingale was born on May 12, 1820, in a beautiful city called Florence, Italy. That is why her parents gave her the name Florence. Her parents were from England, and they were very rich. They belonged to a high class of society. Florence's family had money, land, and servants. She grew up in big houses with gardens, books, and everything she needed. But from the beginning, Florence was different. She was not like other rich girls. Most girls at that time were expected to learn how to cook, sew, and prepare for marriage. But Florence wanted more. She wanted to learn. She wanted knowledge. She wanted to understand the world. Her father, William Nightingale, loved education. He believed that girls also deserved to learn, not only boys. So he taught Florence subjects that were unusual for girls: mathematics, philosophy, history, and languages. By the age of 12, she could speak many languages, including French, German, and Italian. But more than anything, Florence had a big heart. From childhood, she cared about sick people, poor people, and suffering animals. She felt a calling deep inside her. She believed that God wanted her to serve others. Chapter 2. The Call to Serve. When Florence was a teenager, she felt something very powerful. She felt that her life was not meant for parties, dresses, or luxury. She felt she had a mission. She wrote in her diary that God spoke to her, calling her to help people in pain. But in those days, being a nurse was not considered a good job. In fact, nurses were seen as uneducated women, sometimes even drunk or careless. For a rich woman like Florence, choosing nursing was shocking. Her parents were against it. They wanted her to marry a rich man and live a comfortable life. But Florence refused. She knew that her heart belonged to the sick and the poor. She wanted to give her life to healing. This decision caused conflict in her family. Her mother was upset. Her relatives criticized her. Many people thought she was wasting her life. But Florence stayed strong. She said, "I am called to care for the sick. This is my purpose." Chapter 3. Learning to Heal. Florence wanted to learn nursing properly, so she began studying medicine and healthcare. She visited hospitals, read medical books, and learned about hygiene and patient care. In 1851, she traveled to Germany to a hospital run by a group of religious women. There, she learned discipline, organization, and practical nursing skills. She worked hard, waking up early, cleaning, preparing medicine, and taking care of patients. Florence was different from other trainees. She was serious, focused, and full of compassion. She believed that nursing was not only about medicine, but also about kindness. A gentle word, a clean bed, a caring smile. These were also important in healing. When she returned to England, she started working in hospitals and training other nurses. Slowly, she began to gain respect. People noticed her intelligence and her dedication, but soon her real test would come, a test that would make her famous all over the world. Chapter 4: The Crimean War. In 1853, a terrible war broke out. It was called the Crimean War, fought between Russia and an alliance of Britain, France, and Turkey. Thousands of soldiers were injured and taken to hospitals. But the hospitals were dirty, crowded, and unsafe. Soldiers were dying not only from wounds, but from infections, diseases, and lack of care. Newspapers in England began reporting about the shocking conditions. The people were angry. The British government needed help. They asked Florence Nightingale to lead a team of nurses to the war front. Florence agreed. She gathered 38 nurses and traveled to Scutari, Turkey, where a huge hospital was set up. What she saw there broke her heart. The hospital was filthy. The smell was unbearable. There were rats and insects. The wounded soldiers lay on the floor without clean water, proper food, or medicine. Many of them were dying. Florence immediately took action. She organized cleaning. She ordered fresh sheets, bandages, and soap. She arranged for better food. She made sure the hospital had ventilation and clean water. The doctors at first resisted her. They thought women should not interfere. But soon, they realized that her methods worked. Death rates began to fall. Soldiers started to recover. And at night, when all was quiet, Florence would walk through the dark hallways of the hospital carrying a small lamp. She checked on every patient, comforting them, speaking softly, and showing them they were not alone. The soldiers began to call her the lady with the lamp. For them, she was not only a nurse, but an angel of mercy. Chapter 5: The Power of Compassion. Florence did not only bring medical skills, she brought love and compassion. She believed that when you treat a patient, you must treat the person, not just the disease. She spoke to the soldiers kindly, wrote letters for them to their families, and gave them hope. Her lamp became a symbol of care. Imagine being a soldier, far from home, in pain, scared of dying. And then, in the middle of the night, a gentle woman comes to your bedside with a warm smile, asking if you are all right. That moment gives you strength to live. Florence understood something simple but powerful. Healing is not only physical, it is emotional and spiritual too. Chapter 6: Returning Home as a Hero. When the war ended in 1856, Florence Nightingale returned to England. She was no longer just a nurse. She was a national hero. People respected her deeply. Newspapers wrote about her courage. Songs and poems were made in her honor. But Florence did not care about fame. She cared about change. She wanted to improve hospitals everywhere. She wanted to teach the world about hygiene, sanitation, and proper nursing. She used the money that people donated to her cause to open the Nightingale Training School for Nurses in London in 1860. This school trained women to become skilled, disciplined, and compassionate nurses. From here, nurses went to work in hospitals all over the world. Thanks to her, nursing became a respected profession. Women found a new path to serve society with dignity and honor. Chapter 7: Her Writings and Reforms. Florence was also a great writer. She wrote many books and reports about health in hospitals. Her most famous book was Notes on Nursing, published in 1859. This book explained simple but powerful ideas. Keep rooms clean and fresh. Wash hands often. Give patients good food. Provide sunlight and air. Show kindness and patience. Her book became a guide for nurses and families everywhere. Even people who cared for sick relatives at home found it useful. Florence also worked to improve public health in cities, especially clean water and sanitation. She helped reduce diseases like cholera and typhoid by teaching about hygiene. Chapter 8: Challenges and Sacrifices. Florence was strong, but her work was not easy. She became sick herself, probably with a disease she caught during the war. For many years, she lived with pain and weakness. But even from her bed, she continued writing letters, giving advice, and working for health reforms. She showed that even when the body is weak, the spirit can remain strong. Florence Nightingale never got married. She also faced criticism. Some men in power did not like a woman speaking about health reforms. But Florence never gave up. She believed in truth, and she continued her mission. Chapter 9: Last Years and Legacy. Florence lived a long life. She continued her work until her final years. She received many honors, including the Order of Merit from the King of England in 1907, the first woman to receive it. She passed away on August 13, 1910, at the age of 90. She was buried quietly, according to her wish, without big ceremonies. But her light never went out. Her lamp still shines in the hearts of millions of nurses and caregivers around the world. Today, every year on May 12th, people celebrate International Nurses Day on her birthday. She is remembered as the founder of modern nursing. My dear friend, what can we learn from Florence Nightingale's story? We learn that one person, guided by compassion, can change the world. We learn that true success is not in money, but in service. We learn that kindness, discipline, and love can heal more than medicine alone. Florence Nightingale's lamp is not just a light in a dark hospital. It is a symbol of hope, of courage, of dedication. It tells us that even in the darkest times, a small light of kindness can bring peace.